Well, hi everyone. My name is Susan Damiani, and I am the director of gift planning at St. John's University. And I also direct the Legacy Society, which is called the McAllen Society. And I have the pleasure of being here today to do the hello video with Nigel Gretton. So, hi, Nigel. How are you?
Hi there.
We're saying hello from where?
I'm saying hello from Hempstead, New York.
All right, Hempstead, New York. That's terrific. I'm really excited because uh, I think I've mentioned this the whole time we've been doing the electronic newsletter and we've been doing the hello video. The one thing that I love about St. John's is it's one big happy family. And I've been really blessed with, 17 years being here at St. John's. And Nigel, he's got me beat by far, 33 years. That's unbelievable. But I've really had the pleasure of meeting and working with Nigel, and he's become a good friend of mine. So I'm excited to do this hello video with you. I know at some of our society events before the pandemic, many of the McAllen and Laughlin Society members had the pleasure of meeting you. I know you came with us to the Jazz at Lincoln Center, and I think the Metropolitan Opera House when we had dinner at the Met. And I can go on and on. I know you've joined us, and he's always entertained us at Clovis Point Vineyard, which we have every summer. And then Nigel, like I said, he's a good friend and a colleague. I call him up and I get him into all these different things, different projects.
It's been a
And
great
then
adventure.
I know, and I'm sure when he sees my name on the phone, he's just like, "Oh no, what is she gonna have me do next?" But the funny thing is, Nigel does go along with all my crazy ideas. And this past summer, it was really fun. Nigel and Remy Martin, who's a student and also an employee at St. John's, and he's with Voices of Victory. And they came on the Susan Road Show, and we went and we visited a whole bunch of McAllens, and Nigel and Remy performed for them. So it was really fun. We were tired of being indoors and we wanted to get outdoors with everybody. And we did it in a safe way. And I just felt like everybody needed to pick me up. And again, just call Nigel and he's there for me. So thank you, Nigel, for always being such a great supportive colleague. I really appreciate it. So now we're going to
Pleasure.
talk about Nigel. Nigel, like I said, was here for 33 years as director for performing arts. And performing arts, you're going to correct me, Nigel, it includes Voices of Victory, Mixed Chorus. And Mixed Chorus has been around a long time. I know it's had several names. So I'm sure many of you watching, you probably were a member of the chorus. Another long-standing student organization that falls under Nigel's direction is the Chapel Players, which they put on such great performances at the Little Theater on campus. So when we come back on campus again, I hope you'll get to see their performances too. And then we have the jazz band.
Jazz band, yes. So
Okay.
it's four programs. So
Four
it's
programs, which is a
yes,
lot.
yeah.
It's a lot. But tell me, before we get into the St. John's part, the reason why I invited Nigel is for the month of April, we're celebrating the arts at St. John's, performing arts as well as our artists, our art and design department. I have a great fondness for the arts. I think everybody knows that based on all the society events that we've done. I think we've hit every type of venue, arts venue in the city over my 17 years. But tell me, Nigel, because I know you have a really interesting background. And I feel like when you're an artist, it's a God given talent. So you probably were born into that talent, but where did you get the passion? Where did it all start for music?
My earliest recollections of just fun with music. I was born in Trinidad in the West Indies, and I remember my earliest recollection was being always moved by music, to the point that I would almost feel like this like resonating in my chest, just listening to whether it be some of the local calypso music, and this steel pan, so you literally hear that the lower pitched pans, as they beat, I just feel it in my whole body. That
Mm,
kind of sparks some things. And then each time I would have the opportunity to listen to anyone sing, play an instrument, listen to any kind of performance, or even um, watch a dance performance, there was something that was other than uh, otherworldly almost that actually moved me. And that kind of sparked some things. Thank goodness for my mother, especially, but mother and father who saw something special. And when we moved to the States, they strongly encouraged me, or I should say, I was um, pushed and dragged to take piano lessons, and that kind of started some things. And I think probably around the fifth grade was where, after playing something at my school, and having a really positive reaction from my friends and the teachers, um, I realized that maybe there was something special, and that kind of started everything else. And the music has always been a part of my life, and somewhere all of these years. So
that's
of
great.
course,
Have you always worked in education? I mean, obviously 33 years at St. John's. Where were you before St. John's?
before St. John's, I actually, well, I worked. And I still do some work now in two religious institutions. One, the longest standing one is a congregational church where I serve as director of music. And this is, I think, year 39 for me there.
Wow,
And so it has been, even before I finished undergrad, that, that that particular opportunity came, and I started off as a youth choir director, and things blossomed. And then there's a second Baptist church on the North Shore of Long Island, and year 37 there. Um, and it's so those are the two institutions that are still in my life, and I still serve, now to a lesser
that's
capacity,
nice.
but still serve, and still there. And I've taught K through 12. So there's been elementary, junior high school, and high school. Um, Sometimes at the same time as being at St. John's, and then now, of course, to a lesser degree. And I still do some arts education consulting for Department of Education, as well as some school districts here on Long Island, and others throughout the state and a few other states.
That's great. How do you like working with the students? I know particularly you work with Voices of Victory, which
Yes.
is such a great chorus. The voices that we have in that chorus from year to year. It's just some of the ladies, they sound like Whitney Houston. They have just that powerful voice. I just love it. And I'm always just awestruck, by when they perform. I know they perform when we have the fireworks and the winter carnival, right? I think they
Yes.
performed.
Yes.
And they're so good at that. And did you start the Voices of Victory?
I didn't start it, but I'm definitely the founding director in that.
Mm-hmm.
The students who started Voices of Victory, we started as a club back in the 80s. Um, I was directing a choir at that time, for one of the community groups on Long Island, and one of those members was a student at St. John's, and she was one of the founding members of Voices of Victory. And they said they were looking for a director, and would I be interested? And I was encouraged by another friend to check out the group. And she said, you never know what might happen. And so I was originally hired at St. John's um, as director of Voices of Victory, and then eventually was appointed director of performing arts. But it's been a labor of love in so many ways, and so many of those students over the years have really become like extended family members. I'm still in touch with the very first class, and we still get together periodically, and sometimes we get together to make music, or sometimes just to hang out. Um, it,
That's
it,
nice.
and it's so wonderful kind of seeing
Mm-hmm.
what you get every semester. So when auditions
Mm-hmm.
take place, it's almost like, you go out, you cast a net really wide, and the persons who come in, more and more talented. So it's a blessing every semester that I've been at St. John's. I had the pleasure of working with Voices of Victory, but and then throughout performing arts,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be the students who audition for the theater group, for the mixed chorus, and for jazz band, in many ways, even as a non-music institution, we are blessed with the level of talent that comes to our institution, and in so many ways, um, has become part of the fabric of the institution. So it's for me, going to work always feels not like work.
I know it's interesting you said that because I was just about to say the students are very blessed to have you as a director because in working with you, you would never think that you were here 33 years. You still have the passion, you still have the enthusiasm. You're always striving to come up or do the best that will be well served, for your students. Your dedication is really very inspirational. And like I said, the students, I'm sure they see that, and I think that's why they always step up and give the best performance they can at all the St. John's, functions. So
Thank you.
let me ask you another thing. Uh, on the Misty Copeland, we had the distinct pleasure. Um, the university just interviewed Misty Copeland this past couple days,
Yes.
and if you don't know who she is, she's an extraordinaire prima ballerina.
Hmm.
And it was interesting to hear what she said about the arts. And she felt very strongly that it should be incorporated in students' education because it builds up their confidence, gives them motivation, makes them feel good, releases stress. I've always felt that way. Growing up, I was in dance. I went to dancing school for many, many years. And I really feel today, it's probably why I can sit in front of this camera right now and not feel uncomfortable because I was on the stage at a very young age.
Hmm.
And if people watching have never experienced that, and I'm sure you're going to relate to what I'm going to say, is when you're put on that stage for the first time, it's really a daunting feeling. Uh,
Yes.
it's you're like, oh my God, everybody's watching me, right?
Yes.
And when we introduce that to students, especially at a young age, I think it really does build up their confidence. How do you feel about that?
I completely agree with what Misty Copeland said, and I agree with you as well. Um, the arts, especially in the realm of performing, prepares us in so many ways for the rest of our lives, especially those persons who are going on to multiple professions. I think that the idea of building confidence and being able to speak in front of groups small and large, that particular having the experiences they have with our groups at St. John's and performing, it definitely prepares them for that. Many students come back, or they'll send me letters, um, and they've sent letters over the years talking about how their experiences. Now, while they don't even work in the arts professionally, their experiences while a part of St. John's Performing Arts has helped them in so many different ways in their careers, whether they are leading teams now in their own professions,
Exactly.
and
Hmm.
they learn um, as part of the performing ensembles what it's like to be part of a team and the idea of
Hmm.
synergy. So those skills that I think in many ways people look at the arts and they look at the arts as kind of this extra icing on the cake, not realizing that there's so many other skills that are developed just being part of a performing ensemble and performing on the stage. So absolutely agree. Absolutely.
It's so true. I'm glad that you mentioned about the team building because obviously in a chorus you want it to feel like you're listening to one voice, right?
Absolutely.
And
One
you're
voice in harmony, I
listening
tell them.
to so
Yes.
many, yeah.
Yeah.
And they need to know how to work together and not one person standing out, right,
Yes.
amongst the
Yes.
crowd.
Yep.
Yeah, that's so true.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
tell me at St. John's, I know we're during the pandemic. I'd be interested to hear what that was like because obviously, you know, if you want to perform, I mean, the arts has really gotten hit terribly. I mean,
Yes.
look, if you see Misty Copeland, she's a prima ballerina, and she's saying, "Oh, I'm a little out of shape," which I was like, "What?" Actually made me feel a little good. I was like, "Oh, she's out of shape. I don't feel so
That's
bad
great.
now," you know. But it's been so difficult. So how have you been, working with the students? I know you've done some videos, right?
Yes.
And what do we have in store? Like what would be coming up that maybe the society members will want to see?
We definitely have some more performances available that will be ready in time to present um, during later this month. Um, this particular uh, this pandemic has been a major challenge. So, of course, there's the obvious where we can't, because of the social distancing requirements, um, and to avoid the spread of the virus, we have had to distance. And of course, we've been relegated to working in working individually, and then, of course, using technology to then weave together each voice. So each voice part has been recorded separately, and then using our technicians, we then put the voices together. So it's wherever the students are around the country, they would I would teach the parts in our class sessions, and they would, and then we do individual recordings of the parts. They would then learn and record the parts, send them back to me. In the meantime, our
Oh,
assistant
wow.
musical director works with providing the accompaniment recordings. So with piano or keyboard instruments, drums, bass, everything is actually then assembled in studio, and it comes back for a quality check. And then if it's not right, we do the other edits and send it back. So one song takes something like 20 hours to produce.
Wow.
So a
Wow.
good deal of work in order to get things right or close to right. And but major challenge. I think the positive lining here is that it gave us an opportunity to perform, gave us an opportunity to tighten skills, and also taught us a lot of new techniques with
Hmm.
regard to how we actually can continue to make music using available technology. So it's been difficult. I definitely miss getting together in the same room with the students and just having them sing and create music together. We hear each other and see each other. But this has definitely been a viable alternative to all of that.
That's amazing. I know, and I've seen that. And we were talking before we got on the call about the technology and how it drives us crazy. But
Yes.
I know in your area, you really had to rely on it in 20 hours. Wow.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that's a lot. And then you have to hope that it does all work and it all
Right.
blends together
Right.
as, as well as you wanted to. But I
And if
will say,
go
I think,
back.
yeah, earlier in the pandemic, I had wrote an article because I had seen where it was a town and someone had moved this piano into this group of people were assembling. I don't know if it was during the riots or something, and they moved this piano. No one everybody was like, I guess, too busy, talking or whatever. They didn't even notice this man moved this piano into the crowd, and he started playing, and all of a sudden the mood where everybody was like, fighting with each
Yes.
other or whatever they were arguing, all of a sudden the crowd just went completely quiet, and everybody's smiling and singing, and the music just totally changed the mood. And I know for me, like, if I'm not feeling good or anything, or I want to feel good, I
Mhm.
know if I turn on music, especially like in the car or wherever I am, it does change your mood. So I think, and we have to thank your group. I know some of the videos that I have watched, it made me feel closer to St. John's,
Yes.
and it did put me in a better mood, because I know everybody's been feeling a little down and, missing people and so forth. So you definitely gave us a gift. So those 20 hours, I'm just letting you know, thank you. It was all worth the work, because you don't
Great.
realize the effect that you had on the people that were listening. And I'm sure lifted up their hearts and made them feel so much better during the pandemic. So thank you. And that's the beauty of the arts. That's why I wanted to celebrate it this month, because I feel it's very, very powerful,
Well,
and
thank
very
you.
powerful effect on people, especially now.
Thank you.
No. So any last words that you'd like to say to all our McAllen and Lachlan Society donors? Actually, I should say the Retirees Association listens to these videos and watches these videos, as well as the Red and White Club.
Yes. Final words for all persons who hear this interview and listen to these messages. I strongly encourage everyone to support the arts in your communities, support the arts at St. John's. In your communities, I know many times um, it becomes a sticking point for how the budgets are actually decided in many communities, and many people think that they'll actually first support sports over the arts, but not recognizing that there's so many things that students gain from their involvement in the arts, even in the K through 12 grades. So very, very important that you support the arts. We have nothing as a society if we don't have art that's actually active and art that is alive. So please support, support, support the arts.
Very well said, and a great way to close this interview. Thanks so much, Nigel. Always
My
a
pleasure.
pleasure. Love seeing you. And believe me, I have a couple of ideas. I'll call you in a
Cool.
couple of days. Stay tuned, everyone. Thanks, Nigel. Have a
Okay,
good
take
day.
care.
Great
Take care.
weekend, everyone. Thank
Take
you.
care. All right, bye-bye.